The reality, therefore, is there are all kinds of offerings, including, as has been said there, alcohol at times, fish, and even meat sacrifice. So are we a republic of offended sentiments? Should public figures stay off raising any issue connected with religion? Is that the message? Is Hinduism's more open, tolerant spirit now under threat? Every time someone makes these comments, is Hinduism becoming a mimic, some would say, of other Semitized religions? Those are some of the questions I'll raise. Kaushik Deka, India Today's journalist who was interviewing Mahua Moitra, joins us. Shashi Panja, Dr. Shashi Panja is West Bengal Minister of the Trinamool. Tom Vadakan is BJP spokesperson. And Ruchir Joshi, author, is joining me from Kolkata in a moment. Thank you all very much for joining me. First, let me turn to you, Shashi Panja. You seem to have disowned Mahua Moitra. Why have you disowned Mahua Moitra in the manner that you have? Are you worried that anyone who makes these remarks about Goddess Kali, even if some of them may be true, in reality in Bengal's unique plural traditions of worshipping Kali, you want to disown yourself because you are worried about the political backlash? Is this Trinamool also playing what some would call soft Hindutva?
No, not really, Rajdeep. In fact, incidentally, when the India Today conclave was on yesterday, and we also were having a press conference at the All India Trinamool Congress office, the Trinamool Bhavan. And the issues were regarding Nupur Sharma and judicial inquiry, etc., etc. I can elaborate later. And when this press conference was on, I think the Kali poster issue came in through certain reporters of national television. And it was then that we spontaneously expressed our discontent and we condemned the poster. Now, as this was going on, or maybe we had just concluded, probably, this news also did trickle in about the comments of Mahua Moitra. And you wanted the Trinamool Congress to express a comment on it. Now, All India Trinamool Congress also categorically mentioned that these are her personal views. These are not views of the party. Now, you see, we are all members of the party, but I am not about the party. So there will be a party line.
No, but what is it? No, but I want to understand what is it about Mahua Moitra's remarks that has troubled you? Because as we saw there, a number of Kali temples in Bengal may well conform to what Mahua Moitra said about Goddess Kali. The devotional aspects of Kali are as varied and plural as possible. Are you worried about the political backlash? That's why you had to distance yourself from her.
No, you must understand, these are customs and beliefs which have been coming for many years. Now, these are also, it's something that I believe in, you believe in, it may be so. But when you are asking a political party to make a comment, what I would just say is that this should, then you can interview people all over India. I mean, everybody will have a view about it. What we are trying to say is we knew that BJP, it was very, in fact, we said it, that BJP is trying to jump and take political fire, which is very unfortunate. Now, the point what we are trying to say is, yes, of course, we do not we do not stand by her statements. These are our own person needs to take responsibility for it.
Ma'am, you are admitting, I'm sorry to push you, you are admitting that these are customs and practices in Bengal. And you are admitting that she is not necessarily saying something which is far from the truth.
We practice religious tolerance. This party believes in secularism and pluralism. And what's wrong with it? Is there anything wrong with it?
Nothing wrong. So Mahua Moitra was reflecting that plural spirit when she was giving her vision of Kali, of how she saw Goddess Kali. Right?
Well, then she takes responsibility, but you can ask her about it.
Okay.
But what we are saying is our party believes that all religions are equal and we don't need to hurt anybody. Rather not even,
okay.
As you said, we've mentioned it, we've tweeted, we have condemned it. we still do condemn it.
Okay, so you're saying that her personal views should not be interpreted as the
Absolutely.
party's views, and the party does not want to offend any religious sentiments at all of anyone it be. Tom Vadakan, what has the BJP gone and done? Protests, FIRs. Here is a time when LPG prices are rising, the real issues of the day. You don't get agitated. The moment someone says something about goddess Kali, and as you've seen, there are priests that we have got who say that these practices are followed. This seems to be the difference between Hinduism, which is open, plural, accommodating, diverse, versus Hindutva, which is closed, bigoted, and wants to make a political issue of an open, accommodating religion like Hinduism.
What is your question, Rajdeep?
You are going and filing FIRs across the country. What is it that has troubled you so much about what Mahua Moitra said?
Can I answer that?
Yes, please.
This is a typical case of the classical Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, what the TMC is playing. They claim to be a secular party. And there was this gentleman, Rajya Sabha member Santana Sen, who on a national channel a few minutes before said, TMC stands for temple, mosque and church. So be it. And the election commission can take cognizance of what he meant and what he said. But here's a lady who has been a serial offender. She started with calling Vanar Seva, she called the Hindus. This is on Twitter. This is not my creation, nor the BJP's creation. Then she goes on the Gyanvapi issue. She compares the Shiv link to the atomic reactor. That is her reaction, not the BJP, not instigated by the BJP. And now this about Ma Kali. The point is she a front for appeasement? Is this the other face of the TMC leader?
So where is the appeasement? No, Mr. Vadakan, where is the appeasement? Where is the appeasement? Where is the appeasement at all in what Mahua Moitra said? You seem to be suggesting that Mahua Moitra is a serial offender in terms of offending Hindu sentiments. Am I correct?
Yes, you read me correct.
Right? But is there a difference between Hindutva and Hinduism? Hinduism is a remarkably plural religion. I'll take you to the Kumbh Mela and we'll meet Naga sadhus who have a completely different vision of Hinduism to the politicians of your political party.
Rajdeep, we can discuss this till the cows come home, which they must have come. The difference between Hindutva and Hinduism can be explained to you in detail. But in a program like this, and when you have the time, we can meet outside and discuss Hinduism and Hindutva, which I think is beyond your scope of understanding. Because you have a preset mind, my friend.
I have a
this
preset mind.
This mindset is to be loosened up. You are in a liberal domain. You have to think as a secular person.
Yes, my secularism tells me Hinduism is a very distinct religion to Islam and Christianity.
Religion. You are talking about the majority community in this country and calling their deities all kind of things. Try doing this in the US. Go to the Bible Belt and talk about Christianity. You will see the reaction. In
Hinduism is not Christianity.
India,
Hinduism is not
Hindus
Islam.
Are treated as you can do anything with them. You can say anything against their gods. And I'm sorry, you try talking about Islam in Saudi Arabia. You'll know what happens. This is
Is India you made your point.
Our strength is our secular values.
I would love to know.
Secular values is what we stood for, and that is what we are fighting. The BJP is fighting for that.
Okay. Ruchir Joshi, you want to respond? You just heard Tom Vadakan saying, look at what would happen if similar comments were made in the Bible Belt in the US. How would Christians react about, let's say, someone said similar comments about Christianity or in Saudi Arabia about Islam. Should Mahua Moitra have been more careful in your view?
No, I am just going to respond to what Mr. Vadakan said. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I am glad that someone from the BJP has finally come out and admitted to what they actually are. Okay? Because the two examples that Mr. Vadakan has taken are extremely revealing. The American white supremacists South, where apparently you can't say anything against Christ, is one of the most conservative, anti-women, anti-minority, anti-black, anti-Jewish places on earth. And it is their Supreme Court judges who have covered the US in shame with their overturning of Roe and Wade just now, where a woman can't get an abortion if she wants. That is where Mr. Vadakkan and his party and Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah want to take us very clearly. And the Chief Minister of UP as well, Ajay Mohan Bisht. Okay. He then mentions Saudi Arabia, another lovely place where women aren't allowed to drive. They have to cover their faces. And again, he brings that up as an example. So again, this is another place where India is striving to become like Saudi Arabia, except without the petrodollars. India is striving to become, according to the BJP and according to Mr. Vadakkan, like the worst place in the United States of America, the southern states, where those states cover the entire United States in shame with their anti-human, anti-women policies.
But Ruchir Joshi, there will be those who will say...
try going and doing that, when he says you try going and doing that, what he's actually saying is that's what we want to be. Now, Hinduism, to my mind, is one of the most plural, open source religions. And in that too, Ma Kali is one of the most amazing deities that we can have. And yes, she drinks, she eats meat. If someone wants to show her smoking, there is nothing wrong with that.
But
we don't need to import Ayatollah Khomeini. We don't need to import Ayatollah Khomeini's anti-blasphemy laws, which we have done over the last 30 years. Okay, this is what the BJP does. There's nothing original about them.
But Ruchir, let me just stop you for a moment. Ruchir, there will be those who will say... But Ruchir, there will be those who will say that when Nupur Sharma made her remarks in a TV show about the Prophet, she was immediately accused of blasphemy. And when it comes to Mahua Moitra, we will say that, look, liberal elite privilege means you can say what you want about Hinduism as get away. That's the argument which is made by the right wing. That how come the rules are not the same?
I am going to say there should be no blasphemy law in a country like India. If you insult somebody's prophet, if you insult somebody's god, goddess, paint a goddess in a certain way, make a picture of the prophet in a certain way, criticize Christ or make fun of Christ as has been done in England in a Life of Monty Python, whatever, all those things, those should be absolutely allowed. If somebody is offended, it is their problem. If you're offended, be offended at home. You don't like a poster, don't look at the poster. You don't like a film, don't look at a film. You don't like a book, don't read the book.
But that's living in a very idealistic world. That's not the real world.
The real world. I'm sorry. Rajdeep, not idealistic. This is what we need to survive as a republic. Okay? This is not idealism. This is not utopianism. This is basically a mistake that has been made from the 1980s onwards by a number of political parties and a number of leaders, starting with Rajiv Gandhi banning the satanic verses, then putting up with the whole attack on MF Hussain, right? Then two women are involved in a relationship and somebody starts protesting about that film, God, whatever Agni is called. I mean, it's absurd.
Okay,
some paintings in 1960 and you run this man out of the country. No, this has to stop. This is absolute rubbish.
Okay, this republic of offended sentiments has to stop. Before I come to Kaushik Dekar, you're putting your
code of offended sentiments has to stop.
You're putting your hand up, Tom Vadakkan. Let me give you an opportunity. You've given the examples of the Bible Belt of the US and Saudi Arabia. Do we want to be like that at all? As Ruchir Joshi says, that's the last thing we want to be. We don't want those comparisons. This is India. This is the most diverse, accommodating land. That's the greatness of the country. Don't destroy it.
Rajdeep, I and you are on the same page. This author of yours, Ruchir Joshi, is misinterpreting what I said. I said this is India. This is a pluralistic society. If you have to live in India, you have to learn to respect religion. You have to create a sentiment where all of us live together. Mr. Ruchir Joshi lives in Alice in Wonderland. He says, well, if you don't like it, you switch off and switch on. Doesn't work in India. You migrate to some country, you have a problem. But here in India, we live together.
So when everyone,
Hindus,
but
Muslims,
Mr. Vadakan,
we
if
are all
Vadakan,
one.
if everyone's
We are
sentiments
not
are
like-
offended, if
that's
everyone's
what I'm
sentiments
making
are
it.
offended,
We
the
are
police
not
has
like
better,
the
surely the
Bible
police
Belt.
has better things
We
to
are
do,
not
the
like
politicians
Bible
have better
Belt.
things to
We are
do.
not like Saudi Arabia. If you do not understand that, that's your problem.
But you are
And
taking
must
us in that
switch on
direction.
and switch on.
Okay, let me bring in Kaushik Deka for a moment, who's listening patiently, and after all it was Kaushik's interview that has created this controversy. Kaushik, did you get a sense that Mahua Moitra was ridiculing or mocking Goddess Kali when she made those remarks to you?
No, certainly not. I asked her a very simple question. There was a film poster which showcased Goddess Kali as someone smoking. So, with that context, I asked her whether she believes that this is freedom of expression or whether we should take offense to that poster. She didn't directly answer that question. All she said is that what she indicated is that freedom of expression should be in the country the way she has interpreted Kali, Goddess Kali. So she said that this is how she interprets Goddess Kali.
It was her interpretation.
With the context of that film poster, but she was not referring to that film poster. It's her freedom of expression. It's her liberty. Someone else can interpret in other ways. And she said that if in Sikkim or in Bhutan or in even West Bengal, if liquor or meat is offered to Goddess Kali, the same if she says the same thing in Uttar Pradesh, for instance, it will be blasphemy. Let me finish. But she didn't say that this happens or this doesn't happen. She gave proper examples, like in West Bengal. She was mentioning about Tarapet, and my colleagues also spoke to, as you showed also in the program, several priests in Assam, also my home state, in Tripura, and everyone accepted that it happens in the worship of Goddess Kali. It may not happen every day, but on certain occasions it happens. So Mahua Moitra made a factually correct statement, and her intention, I didn't see during that interview that she was ridiculing Goddess Kali. All she wanted to project was that this country needs to have freedom of expression and interpret religion, goddess, in a personal way, in their own way. That liberty should exist. And that question was coming from me because of that controversy that was already happening because of
the
that
picture.
poster.
Okay, your point is taken.
Yes.
Your point is taken. Therefore, Shashi Panja, based on what Kaushik Deka is saying, the Trinamool Congress could have said, look, Mahua Moitra is entitled to her opinion, and rather than exacerbate the issue, you could have easily just ignored it. Instead, by disowning her publicly, it's clear that the BJP has pushed you on the back foot, that you're worried about how the BJP will interpret the Trinamool Congress's stand. The same thing happened when Mamata Banerjee a few years ago was accused of not listening to Jai Shri Ram slogans or getting offended by Jai Shri Ram slogans. Are you being pushed on the back foot in Bengal?
No, Rajdeep, I want to again reiterate, this is on the contrary of what you said. It's not because BJP reacted that we reacted. I told you very specifically that we were already going through a press conference and we were almost concluding and questions were rolling in, and it is then that we responded on behalf of the party. Which I don't want to again.
No, but what is it specific about what Mahua Moitra said that according to you, according to the party, is so offensive?
No, we still say that it is her personal views. That is not the views of the party.
Okay, you're trying to make.
Stand by that. We said it. For BJP, it may be political faida or appeasement. For them, religion may be appeasement. But for us, it is a feeling. The essence is tolerance, acceptance, and respect for all religions. So that is what BJP may be taking political faida or appeasement, which they always do. They have their own calculations. We are not bothered by that. They still have on record not condemned Nupur Sharma's statements. What are they talking so big? It's after international condemnation, the government of India responded. No, BJP has not said anything.
This cannot become about, that's the worry, Ruchi Joshi, as an author, you may have a very different view. You can sort of have the widest possible freedom of expression. Once you become a politician, then you've got to be more careful, especially in a country like India. In an ideal world, we'd like to keep religion and politics separate, but it doesn't happen. Do you accept that, Ruchi, that it is more and more difficult for a politician to, in a way, avoid the fires of religion all around us?
No, I don't. I think that we are suffering from the mistakes that politicians of all parties, and I repeat all parties, began to make in the mid-80s, when the BJP was trying to weaponize religion, which they have managed to do to a nuclear point today. Rajiv Gandhi and the Left Front and later Mamata Banerjee all made serious mistakes in how they responded to this challenge. And Ayatollah Khomeini, sitting in Qom in Iran, managed to poison our social polity by his demand of a ban on Salman Rushdie in 1989. Our correct response should have been at that point, we are not banning any novel. We are not banning anyone from saying anything about a religious figure or a historical figure or a religious deity, because in India we have freedom of speech, and all religions living together means that people will say things about each other's religions.
But so you agree that the freedom of speech burden can't be just
to be a
on
license
Hinduism.
To be a trigger for violence.
The freedom of speech burden can't just be on Hindus, will be the argument. You've got to be also conscious of the fact that you have religions like Islam and Christianity, which perhaps react very differently.
That's a specious argument, Rajdeep. It's a specious argument because Christianity, for one, takes a lot of flack about Christ and about Mary Magdalene, etc. So in Western Europe, and where Christianity, there's different kinds of Christianity all over the world. And Christianity is the one religion where you can get away with perhaps more than you can in Islam and Hinduism at the moment. But the point is, we needed to basically lay down some red lines for people in India, whether they were Muslim or Hindu or any other religion, Sikh, whatever, right? Jain. The red lines were, we are India, just as we have our own brand of secularism, where people are allowed to wear religious symbols in the army and in school, etc. We are not saying you can't wear any religious identification in school like the French are. We have had girls going in with niqab and hijab and stuff like that, whenever the small percentage of girls that do in the schools without any problem, without weaponizing that. Recently that has changed, right? But if we had put down a red line over there saying, this book will not be banned. If you don't like this book, you will not read it. If you create a riot, you'll be committing a crime and we will put you in jail. It doesn't matter whether you're Muslim or Hindu. We will do this to you if you try and misuse somebody's comment about gods or religious figures or political figures to create violence. The crime is with the person creating the riot, not the person who's written the book or made the film or put up the poster. They are not the criminal. The criminal are the people who are using that, misusing that, to create a vitiated atmosphere and to create violence and hatred.
Okay, I think that's well said.
Clear.
I think that's well said, and that's very clear. When you weaponize religion and use it for politics, that's the danger. And that's not what India is about. On this program, we've heard about Saudi Arabia and Bible Belt from Mr. Vadakan. India is different. The diversity of India allows different opinions to be expressed without the threat of violence. That is what makes Hinduism in particular such a uniquely great religion. You want to change Hinduism and in a way Semitize it? Well, that's your option. Politicize it? That's your option. You've got to choose in a way between Hinduism and Hindutva. And yes, those in public life will also have to be conscious when they make these public statements. I appreciate all my guests joining me on my top talking point. One last word from you, Shashi Panja. Will Mahua Moitra remain in the Trinamool or not? Is she very much part of your party? She has unfollowed you on Twitter. You want her to...
She's very much. She is an elected member of the party. Of course, she's an elected member. But as I said, we are all elected. Even I'm an elected MLA and a minister. But the party stand is definitely above us. Okay. If you're speaking on your behalf, when I'm speaking on behalf of the party, if I'm a spokesman.
Okay. The party above all else. Diversity perhaps is not allowed of opinion in political parties. I appreciate, as I said, all my guests joining me on that talking point.